So there's a sikha that says, we'll read the beginning a little bit quicker. From Pasuk Yishke b'makamu, it says that Yaakov on the way to Lavan, it says he slept in that place. Vayishke b'makamu. State in Medrash, when he slept, when he had the dream. Kan shachav, over here he slept. Kol yidal shana sheyitam veis Ever shachav. The entire time he was in the house of Ever, he wasn't sleeping. He was learning. And there noch had Svede a second opinion in the Medrash. Kan shachav, over here he slept. But later on, the next 20 years of a kol chav shana shama beis Lavan le shachav. Those 20 years, he didn't sleep by Lavan because he was busy working Lavan's. The Farshim explained it meant the Kviyas.
He's still a human being. Oh, he never.
The Arai, he slept, but it wasn't a proper sleep.
The man was also like that.
He didn't have a real sleep. This was the first night he had a real night of sleep. So either it's going on the past 14 years when he was in the Yeshiva of Ever, that he didn't have a real Shina, or the next 20 years when he's by Lavan. Further on, the Medrash says, Vait is a Mamshech Medrash, thank you. What was he saying? What was he saying while he was by Lavan? We're going to see soon, the Rebbe is going to explain very beautifully what is this question in the Medrash, what was he saying? What do you mean, what was he saying? What should he be saying? Mahayo Oimer, says the Medrash, what was he saying while he was in the house of Lavan? The 15 Shir Amalis in Tehillim. Tehillim, there's 15 Kapitlach Prakim that start with Shir Hamalis. My time, Shir Hamalis LeDavid, Lula Hashem Shahayel on Yom Yisrael. What's the reason for Bishub ben Levi that he says the Shir Hamalis that he was saying? Because it says, if not for Hashem who was with me, I would have, I wouldn't have survived. Yom Yisrael said Yisrael. Which Yisrael is this? Yisrael Savad Zayda Yisrael Yaakov Avinu. It's not Pashas, we say it's Klal Yisrael. It says if not for Shlule Hashem Shahaya Lanu, if not for the fact that Hashem was with us, where would we be? So said Yisrael, Klal Yisrael. But here the Rabbi Shimon Levi explained Yom Yisrael. Yisrael is hinting to Yaakov, whose other name was Yisrael. So Yisrael was the one who said the Shir Hamalis.
But David HaMelech wasn't born yet.
Created at that time, if David was the one that created. So.
It says, B'chalal, the Gemara says, a good question, the Gemara says in Baba Basra that Tehillim came from 10 authors.
David wrote down the Tehillim, but the Tehillim actually, Adam Rishon and other great people said different capitals of Moshe Rabbeinu.
Well, what's his name? The sons of
Korach.
It's like we say that Avos kept Torah, our forefathers kept Torah before it was given. What do you mean they kept Torah? They're written in the Torah. They kept Torah. They kept put on tefillin. Putting on tefillin, in the tefillin talks about going out of Mitzrayim. They didn't go out of Mitzrayim. It's all the future. Matzos is all about the future. So Pshat explains in Kabbalah and Zohar, it doesn't mean literally they did the same mitzvahs that we did. What is a mitzvah? A mitzvah is a way how we draw down a likus, godliness into the world. They did mitzvahs. They also tefillin draws down a certain light, a certain oil. They drew down that light. How? They had their own ways of doing it.
They didn't put on tefillin?
Not literal tefillin that we did. The Zohar says that Yaakov, when we read the story about the sticks, we're going to read how he...
Right.
What was he doing with those sticks over there? You think it was Sam sticks? He liked to put in sticks and do... There's a deeper meaning to it. What we do with tefillin, Yaakov did with the sticks. It says in Zohar. The maklis, what we accomplished with tefillin, he accomplished with those maklis. We don't mean that the Avos literally did everything. They did certain things that were mamshich that are. Some things they were able to. Some things they were able to do. Then literally, but some things where talks about the future, about going out of Mitzrayim. Then what does it mean that they went? They put on tefillin. they could keep Shabbos. They could keep Shabbos. Certain things that make sense that they could keep. Certain things doesn't make sense. There's some things they did literally keep. It's true.
Even Shabbos. The whole Shabbos
Even
come.
kept
The whole
Shabbos.
Amitet Melachos come after they built the Mishkan and stopped walking on Shabbos.
Yeah.
Before that, it wasn't something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
No, Ben Noach is not allowed to keep Shabbos. It's
Chayiv Misa, right?
a Misa. Kiyadu had the famous joke that there was one time a Chavrusa, they were learning together, and the guy said, Chaim, I'm really not a Yid. So what do you mean you're a Yid? You look like a Yid and everything. He says, I'm not a Yid, I'm a guy. Ben Noach, I'm not a real Yid. So he said, but it says, he knew how to learn. He was a Chavrusa. He said, that guy, Sheshavas, Chayiv Misa, a guy that keeps Shabbos, it's Chayiv Misa, so you were keeping Shabbos time. He says, don't worry, I had always a little rock in my pocket. So he said, yeah, but there's an Erev. He said, I don't hold to the Erev. So if he did, the guy didn't hold to the Erev, it wasn't the Erev, and he was carrying, so he wasn't keeping Shabbos.
Yeah, Rabbi Frank made
Why
it.
is so strong about it if Goyish?
Keep Shabbos? It's a very good question. It's a fascinating Tzemach Tzedek the Rebbe. It's a very good question.
We're saying that in Oisi, Beni Ubene. You know what the
Maybe
Oisi?
so,
If he wanted, he has maybe right now. Not Lishma. He be Lishma later.
No, he is. By the way, it doesn't mean literally. There's another mitzvah, learning Torah. You're not allowed to teach a goy Torah. But it doesn't mean literally we actually go and give him misa. It means that it's so strict. You chayiv misa. We say the words chayiv misa. We don't actually. The Zohar also says if you walk with Dalar Amos without washing negavas, you also chayiv misa. What it means you're allowed to give him a skila. It doesn't say that in the Torah. It means it's to bring out the point how strict it is. But there's another fascinating sikh I don't want to get into, and I have to stick over here. But over there, the kitzur was that a goy is part of the world. A goy, the purpose of a goy of the world is here for Am Yisrael.
To serve Am Yisrael.
Serve Am Yisrael. When a goy decides that one day he's not working, it means he has no longer fulfilling his purpose in this world. The guy is supposed to work. If he wants the rest of the vacation to stay there, but if he decides that I don't need to work, that God wants me not to work, that's intrinsically wrong. Because, no, the service of the guy is to work and to make the world a better place, to fix and to do things and to everything he needs to do. That's his avodah. As soon as he says that I'm not doing that, it means that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Menucha, you're not supposed to be doing menucha. You're here to make the world a place, a settled place, and a good place, and build something, do something, fix something, create something. But if you decide you're not creating, you're not fixing, so what are you doing? What are you doing here? This is your creation of Hashem has a certain purpose. Now you decide I'm not going to, for one day of the week, I'm not doing my purpose anymore. So for a guy, he should work on Shabbat. Beautiful. Continue working. But for a Yid, no, a Yid is a day of Menucha.
I want to imitate my master. The whole week I work for you.
So we tell him
I do
not
what
to.
Hashem told you to do. Now I want to imitate you one day.
It's not so simple. There is it depends on his kavanah and everything exactly. What if he wants to create his own religion or not? There's a discussion about it. This is the main point of the sikha, but it's a very long sikha, a lot of discussion. Okay, let's bring it back to over here. So the Maisi of the Medrash says, one opinion of Shua ben Levi said that during the time he was by Lavan, he was busy saying the 15 Shir Amalis. We're going to delve into this Medrash. It's a fascinating Medrash. What does this mean? Another opinion said that Shmuel bar Nachman Amar, Kol Sefer Tehillim Haya Omer. He would say the entire Sefer Tehillim.
But David HaMelech already done after. So how are you saying this?
Divinely inspired, Kol Sefer Tehillim Haya Omer. We're not going to deal with these questions. Good questions, we're not going to deal with it tonight. Matam, where do we see that he was saying all of Tehillim, not just the Shir Amalis? It says, Va'ata Kodesh Yoishiv Tehillas Yisrael. You, Hashem, you have your lots of Tehillas, praises from Yisrael. Who's Yisrael? Again, Yisrael Sava, but it doesn't say here specific Shir Amalis.
and it's also a kapitel in Tehillim, a parak in Tehillim, that Yisrael, Yaakov Avinu was saying the Tehillim. So we have two opinions. He was saying either the whole Tehillim or 15 kapitlach. Now, first, before we get to what they said he was saying, let's understand what the Medrash was
So what
asking.
were they learning in the Yeshiva Shem of Neighbor?
That was earlier. Now we're talking about Lavan, when he was by Lavan. Now, what is this question? Before we get to these very interesting answers that he was saying 15 Shermalis, he was saying the whole Tehillim, what does this mean? What does this mean? That's what he was doing the whole time. He wasn't learning any Mishnayos, any Gemara. So, let's first stop for a second and understand what was the question of the Medrash. The question was, Ma Hoya Oimer. Medrash said, what was Yaakov Avinu saying there? What was he saying? What's he supposed to be saying? I mean, he's supposed to be saying something? What's the Medrash question? Ma Hoya Oimer. The Pshat in the Shaila Ma Hoya Oimer, can it say was the Yaakov Avinu given from Beis Lavan? It can't mean what was Yaakov busy with while he was by Lavan. He was very busy there. He was mamish working night and day. He said, I took the sleep off my eyes, and I was working for Lavan 20 years working for Lavan.
He didn't have time to learn Torah even.
So that doesn't mean what was he busy saying. We know what he was busy doing over there. The shaila is, was hat Yaakov gesagt, mispala gewin, gelernt, what did he say to get through himself through these difficult times? 20 difficult years of his life with a trickster like Lavan, a Ramai, and dealing in such a place as Sheker. And how did he manage to stay with Lavan and Rush all these years and keep strong? What was he saying? What was he davening? What was he learning? What inspired him? This is the question of the Medrash. What was inspired him? What kept him to do that? The second column is he was in Golos. He left his father's house and he went to Lavan. His father's house was beautiful, Yitzchak, and he was sitting by his Yitzchak. Now he's in Lavan. Where is he surrounded by? What Lavan's sign. What was he involved with there? Special holy work. Lavan's sign, Lavan's sheep. Bis es ein Gefinster bis Lavan gepelpt bei mir geredet mit der Gott. Wie das gesagt, Jakob hat gesagt, in der Mois, aber kann man nicht bei der Mois. Das heißt, bei ihm ist gewähnt. Kann wie Jakob, der in der Mois, bedeutet man der Mois Lavan. Rashi says in the beginning, that Lavan said to him, he said to Lavan, Yaakov said, if he's gonna, he told Rachel, it was a hint in the pasuk. He said, I'm a brother of Lavan. What do you mean a brother of Lavan? Rashi says, if he's nice, I'm not a brother. If he's not nice, I'm also know how to be a brother like him to trick Ramai. So meaning, Yaakov came down to that place. He was Yaakov Ish Tom, Yeshiv Oilim, a sincere, good. Now he's coming to a place and he's saying, L'chatchila, he's going to be a Ramai, I'm going to have to be a Ramai. So this is a real golus for him. And he went down a level. This is Yaakov Avinu. How did he survive? How did he remain complete and survive all those years in such a place?
He was in level of Yaakov Avinu, that's right.
What did Yaakov Avinu do? The Medrash knows for sure it was something to do with the mouth. Why did Medrash say now, Mahayois, what was he doing? So Mahayoimer, what was he saying? Because the Medrash knows, we said last week's parasha, Koil Yaakov, Vidayim Desav. So Yaakov's idea is koil.
He's known.
He's known for his koil. So we know his power was something that he said. So the Medrash right away asks, Ma ha-yomer. It's beautiful how the Rebbe just explains these three words, Ma ha-yomer. If them answered the Medrash, and this the Medrash says, as the Zayin given have two opinions, the Tesva Shemalis, either the 15 Shemalis, or their Kol Sefer Tehillim, or it was entire Sefer Tehillim, and das hat ihm gegeben the koyach as können durchmachen dem Gold. That also gave him the koyach. So now we understand the question, and now we got to go into the answers. What happened? What was giving him the koyach? So Bishloima mainly makes sense. That later they asked Kol Tilma Yoimer, the top of 125. According to the opinion, he said entire Sefer Tehillim. We understand, a person's at a time when he can't learn. He's working a whole day and night. So what could he do? Say Tehillim. So he said Tehillim.
14 years saying Tehillim.
Said Tehillim. But the Rebbe's going to ask, but what is the other opinion, the first opinion of Shimon Levi? It says, no, he didn't say the entire Tehillim. Only 15 Shir Malas. What's these 15? Either he did the whole Tehillim or he didn't do any Tehillim. But what's this thing about only the 15?
What's the difference? He said 15 all day. It's not Tehillim. What's different?
Oh.
So why the middle said put to a minion?
That's a question.
So Rebbe got answer.
It's verstandig, es ist Scheiches von der Amir zu Yaakov in der Zeit. Schau es Lavan, warum sein dik in a Matze für Pashtus hat nicht gekannt lernen Torah bei Ion. He couldn't learn in depth Torah. Al Kopayim, at least it was not on the level like he was when he was Talmud Beis Eber in the Yeshiva Eber. Hat gesagt, die Hilus der Eber, he praised Hashem. Und es sei nicht die Hilus der welche netten Schaken der Goyim alles. There's a medrash that says that David HaMelech asked Hashem that when that his Tehillim, when saying Tehillim, should have the level of learning the deepest parts of Torah, the hardest parts, like Olis in the Goyim. The Goyim and Olis, difficult Tumah and Tara halachas. Very, very difficult Mishnayos. So David HaMelech said he wants that someone who says Tehillim should have that schar. So at least he couldn't learn, and definitely couldn't learn on the not at the level that wasn't Beis Ever at least. But at least he said Tehillim, which has the status of like as if he learned all this in the Goyim. Why specifically these 15? What did they have to do with Beis Lavan? These 15 with love, being by Lavan. Wenn das verstehen, will understand this. Behektim was der Chida bringt. And based on a one line in the Chida, the Rebbe pulls out the whole explanation. The Chida was Reb Chaim Yosef David Azulai. That is the Rosh Tevis. The big Gedolim
From Morocco.
and they lived in the time of the same time as the Alter Rebbe, the Maggid. He was a Talmud of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Yechidah has tons and tons of Svarim. Now, the Yechidah brings as a test for Shir Amalis. What are these 15 Shir Amalis? Omar David al-Shalom Keneged Tes V'Shalom Shechoyu Avos Biach. He said 15, corresponding to the 15 years that all the three of us lived together in this world. All the three of us were here, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, 15 years together. Yaakov Avinu, when Avram Avinu was Nifter, Yaakov Avinu was 15.
15,
So there are 15 years that they were all three together. Right? So what does this mean? What's the connection? Why does he have to say these three? So this is one line in the Chidah, but the Rebbe elaborates on it. Let's skip the brackets. Al Pizek kemen zagin as Yaakov gesagt der Shemalish Tivtil Mechdei dem mit zum Eure sein dem Schos euch von sein Avram Yitzchak. He wanted to say the Shir Malis to bring out the schus. He's in Beis Lavan and he's having troubled times. He needs a schut of his fathers and a Zayda, Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. So he says 15 Shir Malis corresponding to the 15 years that we were together. So he wants to get their schut, their koyach of that time, that all three of them. Nois of sein eigenes chuyes koyches, besides for his own schusim, his own koyches, he wants to also have with him now the koyches from his father and his grandfather. But durch dem dafke die kennt durch man die schwere Beis Lavan. Wie sagt, like it says, Yaakov told Lavan that I wouldn't have survived without lule ke avi, if not for the God of my father, Elikei Avram, the God of my Avram, Upachad Yitzchak Hayili. Without the God of Avram and the God of Yitzchak were with me. Meaning he needed the schos of Elikei Avram and Elikei Yitzchak to carry him through Lavan. That he told Lavan himself. He didn't just mention my father, my God. Not for the fact of Elikei Avi. Avram and Yitzchak were with me, and not with me, that's how I wouldn't have survived. So that's why there was a test of Shir Hamalis.
You know, with Yosef HaTzadik, he also, when he was in Mitzrayim, terrible place, he was remember his father, and this gave him strength.
Right? Similar.
It's the same thing here.
Now,
gave him strength.
the Rebbe wants to explain a little bit more
What
Now,
is
how does 15 years and 15 Shir Amalos go together? Like, how does a year and a Shir Amalos, like, what's the connection? So it's the same number, but there has to be some kind of connection between 15 years and 15 Shir Amalos.
Well, later on he's going to explain the connection between shear. Why it was shear. But he was saying these 15 Shir Amalos all the 20 years. All the 20 years he was using the koyach of having Tesvav just symbolizes Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. What's the connection to the toich of the Shir Amalos? I don't know.
Not to the
15 Shir Amalos.
a year.
The Chabad, every year for your birthday, you say next capital for your birthday next year.
Well, you're saying like that. Well,
he
every
has
year
only
the 15 was shaykh to one of the Shir Amalos. Like,
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
Not
Could be.
to the content.
Could be, but it doesn't. Here it doesn't go into that detail. You know, this week's parsha. So, in order to understand this more, why did he need all this chusim? So he had his own schut, or schut of, even if he had a schut of the Yitzchak. Why did he dafke feel like he needed to go through this time? He needs all three together.
He knew his schut is not enough. Such a bad place here.
Oh, 100%. That's what we're saying. But to give more explanation, the Rebbe explains this based on an interesting manuscript of the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe's own great-great-grandfather and the Einokol of the Balatanya, who has a 10 lines where he writes down a Torah that we said before, a Torah that his Zayda, the Alter Rebbe, told him the last Erev Shabbos before the Alter Rebbe was Nastalik. He was Nastalik Motzei Shabbos. And Erev Shabbos, the Alter Rebbe told his grandson a Torah that his Rebbe Avram, their Malach, it's called Avram the Malach, the son of the Mizutcha Magid, told him over this Torah. It was based on a pasuk in this week's parsha. But the Rebbe took this Torah based on a different pasuk and brought it over here to help explain it to our Ingen. We know in the pasuk it says that Yaakov Avinu, when he met Rachel by the well. So it says, "V'nes v'shama kol ha'adarim." All the herds would come together, all the shepherds. V'gala was se'even, and they would remove the stone now pi haber from on top of the be'er. So, in a deeper level, the Avram der Malach said that time there was a famous war. It was called the Zibin Yorike Krieg, 7-year war. It was a 7-year war. It was a battle, and it was the king of Prussia, King Fredrick, against the other kings. Maybe someone knows the history. I don't know the history. So, Rebbe Avram had told the Alter Rebbe, learned something in Avodas Hashem from how he won the war. How did he win the war? Usually when there's a war, so let's say you have a few groups. So you have each group fights against the other group. And whoever wins, wins. He did a trick, and this King Frederick, he took all his 3 groups, and he positioned them directly against one group. So it was 3 against 1. So, and then he went to the next one, and to the next one. This way, he wiped out the whole army of the enemy. So said Rebbe Avram der Malach, the same thing is in Avodas Hashem. He's serving Hashem. Sometimes someone sees he's having an ava for something that he shouldn't have an ava for. An ava of klippa.
To love food, to eat food the whole day.
Whatever it will be. So the ava, each one to his own taste. So the ava...
I eat everything.
So the ava, the way how you generally would deal with it is to awaken within yourself an ava for kedusha, to combat the ava klippa. Or if you had a yira from something that's also from ra, from klippa, to awaken within yourself the corresponding midah of yira in kedusha to combat it.
Says that Avram, from King Fredrick, we can learn out a new method. When you have to deal with an Ava of Ra, Ava Klippa, don't just position Ava against it. Take all your midas. Take your Yira, your Ava, your Achmanis, and position them all against the Ava of Klippa.
Have a coalition.
Make a coalition. So make a coalition directly, but not a coalition against the coalition. A coalition against one specific.
The bad thing.
Yeah, one Ava. Instead, one meet against one meet, all three against one. This is what he learned. And he said that's what it means over here. V'nes v'kol adarim, all the herds gather together, and then they're able to push off the rock, because how are you able to deal with pushing off the rock when you have everyone together? That's one line in the pasuk. So the Rebbe brings us down over here and says, similar over here, Yaakov Avinu, he had over here to struggle against Lavan. So it could be him against Lavan, it's one against one. In a battle, when you have one against one group of soldiers against one group, sometimes these people win, sometimes these people win. No telling. You don't know who's going to win. Even you have some big armies, doesn't always... So Yaakov didn't want to rely on his own zechut. He wanted to have, like King Fredrick did, to have all three against one. So me, myself against Lavan. Lavan's klippe, I'm kedusha, but one meet against one meet. So he said, I'm going to take Avram and Yitzchak together. And all three, that's why he said the 15 shir amalis. Because we at one point were all together. So he wanted to bring that koiches that he had from that time period, with all three together in one shot, and then he'll be able to fight Lavan. And that's Maha Yoimer, what the Medrash is saying, that's what kept him going through such difficult times, was the schut of everyone all together. That's how you managed to persevere. Let's take a look inside in Gimel.
That's what the Rebbe said the day before he passed away.
Today.
Yeah. He didn't bring it into Yaakov and Lavan. That's the Rebbe's Sikha, to connect it to Yaakov.
Oh, the same thing.
But over there it just says, and in Kedusha, we learn, and he's taught the Alter Rebbe of a new method that you do three against one. So the same thing over here says the Rebbe. Yaakov didn't want to do the same thing. He wanted to have the schus of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov together. So therefore, be against Lavan. Three against one. Pashit.
Lavan couldn't take the schut of Betuel, of Terah. Betuel just died.
And also Klippa, they never get together, because each one cares about himself, really.
Oh, the Klippa.
So they never really could unite properly, because they're always fighting between each other. There's no real achdus. So Klippa, they're all in it for themselves. So each one they steal, when they steal for themselves. So the Ganavim can't really, they all steal from each other, the Ganavim. They're not...
That story is probably similar, because Alter Rebbe probably told the Tzemach Tzedek that he should take the schus of the Mittler Rebbe and take the schus of the Alter Rebbe.
Mittler Rebbe wasn't yet Rebbe, but...
What?
To fight against...
He just told him the beer. The Alter Rebbe actually, the Avram the Mal did not connect it to what it says in this week's parsha. It's Tzemach Tzedek is the one that connected this explanation to what is the deeper meaning of the pasuk. The nes for kol adarim. You have all of them together, then you can get rid of the stone, get rid of the clip of the stone. Tzemach Tzedek connected it to a deeper meaning of this week's parsha.
But Lamaisi Yaakov did it himself. He didn't need Na'avim Yitzchak. No.
He did. He used Hatzva Shir Amalas. He used it.
Before he picked up the pkak, he said probably Shir Amalas.
The time for Wasser gedarft onkommt zum Schus von Allah. This is what we basically spoke outside. Bichdei zu beikum nisyonis for Lavan. Why did he need the Schus of all of us? Why is it enough just with his Schus? We're staying for the eights of his brings it, the device which brings down, which we just said. How to win the war with the Yitzhar in general. Which is learned out from a war that happened in the times of the Alter Rebbe. They say they used to divide it up into three groups. And two on the right and left. The enemy also sets himself up. They fight each other. What happened? Why was there success in that war? Then he for sure was able to win. Al der is a learnt men up in the gates of the Muhammad Ruchnis Muhammad Yetzer. Mechdei zum erzählen in dem Yetzer darf man sein Kol Gimel Midas der Tusha Ava Yir Barachim L'umas Mida Achas der Klippe. By idei ze bevada Yiplu v'yinatzchu oisa. For sure you're going to win. Now, und der Feier ab in der Tappe 126, die Tessel Shir Amalas, was seine Knege Tessel Shalom Shachoy Avas Biyachad, auf durchgehende Beispiel Mingen Hagos. The Gimel of seine doch Knege, the Gimel Midas Kedusha. What are the three of us? The three of us are Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes. Or in other words, Ava, Yira, Rachamim. Avram Avinu, his whole life was Chesed. Hachnasas Orachim, he just stood there, he couldn't not do Chesed. Even if it was the Arvim, the Arabs that were they were about to have Zara, such low Arabs. Mishtachim la'avek shalagleim, Rashi says, they used to make them wash their feet before they came in because they used to bow to the dust on their feet. They thought the ground was God. Even such low, even in Avodah Zarah Nix, they were the lower ones in Avodah Zarah Nix.
And still Avraham
Avinu felt he had to be nice to everyone. And when Avraham Avinu, Hashem told him, "Don't worry, after you're going to get Yitzchak," he said, "Lu Yishmael yichil lefanecha." What's wrong with Yishmael? Lu Yishmael. What is Avraham Avinu so concerned about Yishmael? Such chesed Abba from Avraham with no end. There's no limit to his Abba. Even Yishmael, he wants everyone to have a connection. Even Yishmael. Yitzchak is Gevura. Yitzchak was a different Avodah. This explains in Kabbalah and Chassidus. Yitzchak was not Avodah Chesed, more Avodah Gevura. It was a different type. No, Yitzchak was not. We don't talk about Yitzchak about being a Machnas Orchim. We don't talk about that. Yitzchak, we talk about him digging the wells. We don't get into it, but the digging, all about Yitzchak's whole life in the Torah, digging wells. This is what he did his whole life. That's what our Avos did. They were digging wells. There's a deeper meaning to digging wells. Digging wells means to reveal the water, the live water which is in the earth. Avraham Avinu wouldn't do that. Avraham Avinu would bring water from somewhere else. Yitzchak didn't bring water from somewhere else. Yitzchak was dug down to find the water deep within the earth. Avraham Avinu, even if it was Arabs that there is no water there, meaning there's no quote-unquote live water there, there's nothing there, he would bring water and he would shower them with water and with godliness and tell them to bench and do everything. Yitzchak was a different kind. No, I'm not, this is not about chesed. I'm going to see if the person is roy, if he has within him mayim chayim. If he's had mayim chayim, I dig out and I reveal the mayim chayim. If he doesn't have mayim chayim to Yishmael, no, Yishmael is not shaykh, he's not worthy, he's not roy. Gevura says, Gevura, Tzimtzum, Gevuradik, strength, not roy is not roy. Chesed says, no, even if someone's not roy, let's also give him. So this is the avodah of Yishmael, of Avram Avinu. The Avram Avinu, that's why Yishmael came out from Avram. Even though Avram Avinu was such a big tzaddik, but still in all, this midah of chesed, when it's unlimited, it also could bring a Yishmael about. Because if you're always good and always giving, so even Yishmael can have room to exist. Yitzchak took care of the Yishmael problem, but Yitzchak was total Gvura. But was total Gvura, he had Esav. So even the Avodah of Yitzchak had somewhere Klippa could get a Yenika, could get Chayis, could get sustenance somewhere from the Avodah of Yitzchak.
Some mine wasn't Chaim, that's it.
So Yaakov Avinu, what says, was the first one, all his children were tzaddikim. It says, Mitasai Shlema. His bed was complete. All his children were complete. Because Yaakov had a combination, a balance, the proper balance between Chesed and Gevurah together, which is called in Chassidus Tiferes, or Rachamim, mercy. Rachamim is mercy. Chesed says, give someone asks for a knife, he's not supposed to get a knife. Give the knife. The person wants a knife. The child wants candies. It's not always good to give a child candies, but Chesed says, give. No, never say no. Never say no. That's Chesed.
Only to drugs.
No, never say no.
Also no.
Chesed. Then comes Chesed. That's just an example. Gevurah is totally the other way. Total tzimtzum, total no. But
That's why a lot of people that were with Avraham Avinu did not follow Yitzchak.
So
They
Yaakov,
fell away.
Mechlal says they fell away because since Avraham Avinu, his whole avodah was showering chesed. He didn't really change the Arvim. The Arvim remained Arvim. They remained Arabs. They didn't change. Avraham Avinu forced them to bench. He told them, "You better bench. You're gonna have to pay a lot of money." He got them. He got them to.
He frosted.
He got them to say that there's a Eibishter in the world. But afterwards, since it was all from Avraham Avinu's perspective, therefore they themselves on their own didn't change. After Avinu was nostalgic, they went away from the derech of Avraham Avinu. It didn't last. On the other hand, Yitzchak, he worked with people in a more personalized way, internalizing them, trying to reveal within them. They're dig within deep in them and find out, reveal the waters in them. So therefore, it was more lasting. Yitzchak is more lasting, but Avraham Avinu was higher. It was a higher level. Anyway, so Lamaisa Yaakov Avinu had both together, a balance of both. That's why it's called Tiferes. Tiferes means beauty. When is something beauty? When you have two colors together. One color itself, you don't say it's beauty. When there's a few colors. So you had Avram and you had Yitzchak. He had both minds. So Yaakov Avinu didn't want only his Tiferes for itself. He wanted Chesed for itself, Geulah for itself. And all of them against Lavan. So that's why he took all three. Mamash, not only three against one, but also they each represented the same midas of Ava, Yira, and Rachmim, or Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. They all represent those three against Lavan.
Achdut. He wanted Achdut.
But after all, he didn't help him. He got tricked by the sisters.
But he remained. He wasn't. He remained as Shalom Tayag Mitzvah Shemarti. Like said, Lavan got Tayag Shemarti. His Ruchnius. He remained.
Regarding the water, if I may add on to your point, actually it's shaykh to say that there are two types of waters. There's a water Mayim Chasodim, and then there's water Mitzad Avodah. How do you know? Because there are two psukim. Well, there's a chazal that by Torah, legabe Torah, water that's corresponding to Torah. It says Mayim Elchim Memokim Gvayal Mokim Nomuch. So that's Mayim Shel Chasodim. However, the other water you're saying about the well, the be'er, that they were chayfer be'erais, that's a water that's extracted, that's derived through avodah, through
yeah,
richtig. You know, because there's a pasuk, Mayim Eitzo Bleiv Ish, Mayim Amukim Eitzo Bleiv Ish Ve'ish Kavula Yidoleno. You have to work very hard to get that water. So that's a water mitzad avodah, mitzad gevura. It's a different type of water.
Yeah.
The Yukach No Ma'at Mayim that Avraham Avinu was taking, that was revealed water. That was water mitzad chasod, that was easily gotten water, transporting it from one place to another, carrying it from one place. That's water that was available, that was available to him. However, the other water, the Mayim Amukim Eitzel Levish, that's the water mitzad avodah. That's the water that was derived machmas, working for the Eirais.
Yeah, Shekoyach, Emes. Yeah, sounds richtig. So Lamaisa, Ad Khan over here is the main explanation over here into this opinion of the Medrash, why he said the 15 Shira Malas. In Sif Dalid, he goes over Api Kabbalah to explain why Dafka the number 15.
We know which Shira Malas? The 15, which one?
There's only 15.
Oh, they have the whole Tehillim only 15?
Yeah. Kuf Chav. Starting from Kuf Chav. Now the Rebbe goes on to another point. He was saying Shir Hamalas. Another diuk. We finish with this part. He says he was saying 15. What was he saying? He wasn't just saying 50 Kapitel Chatehillim. 15 Prakim earlier or later. He was saying the Shir Hamalas. Why Dafke Shir Hamalas? Songs of praise, of Shira. Shira. What's the Shira? When you have a big nest, it's in a good time, you say Shira. Ein oivim Shira al yayin. You drink yayin, you say Shira. Yaakov wasn't in a state of Shira, he was in a Galus. He was in a Galus Lavan, a very difficult, hard time in his life. So, but here we're saying that he was singing. He had Shira. He wasn't beseeching. He was saying Shira.
He's happy, he's passing the test.
So why Dafka? We explained why 15. Because corresponding to the 15 years of the three of us together. The Chida explained. But why Dafka 15 Shir Hamalis? What was he singing about? What was he so excited about? It was difficult years. What was the Shira? It's not enough the explanation we gave above. The task of Shir Hamalis should be saved till we're an ongirufim b'shem Shir. Was Shir is verbunden mit an Ingen shel Simcha. Is wie hat Yaakov gekannt sagen Shir Hamalis an Ingen shel Shira sein dik an amay mit dem Matziv shel Golos. Now, Emes Takas in his Moirim Retzach wegen Ezri, den ist in das Kirche beikommen und Golos, aber wie kann man stehen in der Simcha Gluya, was dämmelt den Matzim zu sagen in Shira? Aderech mei mazal in Emes Shilo Yayin, wenn man gefinnt zu becharan. What is charan? The Medrash says, Charoin af shaloylam. And when Beis Shalaman, charan comes from the word charoin, anger. This is the place where Hashem's anger is at this place. So he was at the heat of it, Yaakov Avinu. For 20 years, he was at the hotbed of Hashem's heat is in this Mokim. It's a terrible place. Everyone, by the way, was all together, and the whole trick that Lavan did, the whole city, they all had a good time over there playing the trick with Yaakov.
Involved, probably.
Yeah. And so Layasa came in Kemeinu, we don't do it over here. So the Rebbe explains over here, you know the story of Rebbe Kiva. The ending of Makis, the Gemara says Rebbe Kiva, there were two Tanoim. Remember what was the other Tana's name? The two Tanoim, they were going by the Churban, walking by, and they saw the Churban of the Mokim of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, where it was. And a shul fax was walking over there. So one of the Tanoim, there were a few Tanoim walking by. The other Tanoim started to cry. And Rebbe Kiva laughed. They said, Rebbe Kiva, you're laughing. He said, because I see that the shul's coming, I know that the Gula is going to come. Because the Navi said two Nevuas. There's going to be a Churban, and then after the Churban is going to be a Geula. So now I see the Churban, I know the Geula is coming. What happened over here? The other Tanoim were wrong, they didn't know. The other Tanoim, the Churban is a Churban. Rebbe Kiva had the koyach, his mahos was, he was able, when he saw something, he didn't see only what's now. He saw what the kavanah is. What is the purpose of it? The purpose of the Churban is to build an even bigger Beis HaMikdash, to have the Gula Asida. So he saw what was behind the Gullus, behind the Churban. So therefore he laughed. He was Mesachik. He laughed. The Tanoim said back to him, Akiva nechamtanu, you have comforted us, and he brought this out in them, this aspect to look deeper at things. Yaakov Avinu, it's interesting, it says in Kabbalah, that Rizal says, Akiva is the same letters as the word Yaakov.
Akiva, Yaakov, some Shorish.
There's an Aleph in Akiva, but the Yaakov and Akiva, all the letters of Yaakov are in Akiva. Rebbe Kiva, it says in Arizal, was a Gilgul of Yaakov Avinu. He was a Gilgul, a reincarnation of Yaakov Avinu. Means Yaakov Avinu, where did Rebbe Kiva get this from? This koyach to look at something that's so terrible, but to see within it the good and the positivity. And what will the outcome will be? From Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu also had that koyach, and that's how it came to Rebbe Kiva, because he was a gilgal of that neshama. Yaakov Avinu, when he was by Lavan, how did he keep himself going and bring himself above? He said the 15 Shir Hamalas. He looked upon the situation that he was in, and he realized that why am I here if he's 20 years in Lavan? Think about what's the whole purpose. The purpose of every Yerida is a tzorich of an aliyah. The purpose of every Messiah and a challenge is to bring us to a greater height. Like a spring. In the spring, when you push it down, you go down for a little bit, but then you go flying higher. But you have to first go down. So in order for us, the way it is, all the Seder is, it always has to be first a Yerida. The Seder in this world is first the Yerida, and then you can go to Aliyah. And the greater the Yerida, the greater the Aliyah. So Yaakov Avinu viewed the 20 years he was by Lavan at what they were really for. It's really a great Yerida, but in order to reach to a great Aliyah, when he left, he came out with all the Shvatim, and he became very rich, and he had all the Ruchnias, and he able to manage to stay strong in such a place. It brought about in him such unbelievable Ruchnias. This Nisayin brought him to a much greater height, these Nisyonis. So he said, Shira Malis. He was able to say Shira in such a time. Yaakov saw that this time is really ultimately for Simcha. He saw like Rabbi Akiva, when Rabbi Akiva was laughing and smiling when he saw a Churban. Rabbi Akiva saw the Churban, the Kodesh HaKadoshim, Shul, Halach Bay, and he was Mesachik. Yaakov was in by Lavan all those years, and he also saw that what's really the Kavanah here is for the Aliyah I'm going to have after this Golas, the heights I'm going to reach after this Golas.
This is the reason.
So therefore he was able to say Shira. Oz Yashir, he's able to say Shira. Usually most Yidden are able to say it only when they actually see a real Nes. They actually have a real Simcha. You have Kriyas Yamsov, and like the other Tanoim, who didn't see what Rabbi Akiva saw until Rabbi Akiva brought it out within them. They cried. But Yaakov Avinu saw within the Golas the Shira Malis. And that was with the koyach that he had with his all of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov together. The 15 years that they were together brought out that he was able to have Shira, not just to pass through the time. He was able to go through the time and even be able to sing and be besimcha in that time to have Shira.
I think Shira Malot, when he said it, he go Mala, Mala, Mala. He went higher. This is why it's Malot.
In the ending, we have to go to Ma'ariv, but the Rebbe connects it to the pasuk. The first Shira Malis, the first kapitel, first parak, finishes off Ani Shalom. David HaMelech, this passage is David HaMelech anyway. Ani Shalom, I am Shalom. I'm to peace, for peace. V'yichiyadaber, when I speak, Hemel Muhammad, they all go out and war against me. So what do they want? So it explains like this. A person in life is not supposed to look for nisyonis. We say every morning in brachas, we say al tiveinu l'dei nisoyin. You're not allowed to go in. True nisyonis can bring out a person when he withstands on nisoyin a challenge. He can reach a much greater height in ruchnias. But you're not allowed to let yourself into the nisoyin. When Hashem sends you the nisoyin, then you know that's the hashkacha pratis, that you have to overcome the nisoyin and reach to a greater height and see through the darkness the struggling time that you're going through. However, you're not supposed to jump into nisyonis, create nisyonis. There's a famous vart that the Rebbe Rashab one time said. Those days, Lubavitch was a little village. What was Lubavitch? It's nothing. It's a little village. Petersburg, Leningrad, Petersburg, that's the big city. That's where all the Taivas are. That's where the that's where it's all happening. So that's the Fifth Avenue. So Lamai said he said someone shouldn't say that what's the kunz to be a chassid in Lubavitch. Let me to go to Petersburg and let me be a chassid there. Then I'm going to be it's a kunz to show as that trick. I could even be in Petersburg and I could still be a chassid. Even more, you know what? To go into Petersburg and be a chassid, no. There are chassidim in Petersburg. But let me go into the movie theater. But I'll keep my eyes closed the whole time. And I'll even still be able to be a chassid. I know the word chassid was because we're talking about chassidim. To be from Yid, you could substitute it. Be a Yiddish Shemayim still. So he said, big deal. You keep your eyes closed. You don't see what's going on. It's not so difficult. You're still living in the shtetl. Just you're in the movie theater in Petersburg and you kept your eyes shut. I'm going to open up my eyes and I'm going to see what goes on and I'm going to still remain I'm going to show a kunz I can still be a chassid. So the Rebbe Shab, don't try these tricks. Al tiveinu l'dei nisoyin. Davening Nisayim. But if the Nisayim comes your way, then that shows that that's what you're supposed to. So Maisa, a person's supposed to say Ani Shalom. The first Shir Amalis finishes off the pasuk Ani Shalom. Yaakov Avinu was saying, Ani Shalom. I didn't look for this Nisayin in Galus Lavan, in the house of Lavan. I didn't look for it. Ani Shalom. I don't look for this type of life to live in Lavan. But the Shkacha Pratis that happened over here, that I had to run away and everything, I came here. But me on my own, I run away from this place. You're not supposed to want to be in Galus because you say, oh, if I go to Galus, I'm going to get to a higher level. If there's a Churban, so they're going to reach out. We don't, so Chas V'Shalom, so much they let me destroy the Beis HaMikdash earlier, so no. Galus is Galus, it's a bad thing. An Nisayin is a hard thing, and a person doesn't want an Nisayin. And that's what David HaMelech said, Yaakov said, Ani Shalom. David HaMelech, we say these Tehillim, he said, these Shir HaMelech. So the first one, David HaMelech was, Yaakov was saying, Ani Shalom, I don't want this whole Galus over here. But V'chiyat Daber, Heimel HaMelchama. Then they're making a whole Melchama over here, love him. So Ebazai, that is a Melchama, so Yaakov has to deal with the Nisayin. And
he even said to Lavan, I know how to be a Ramay also if you want me, but I don't want to. I want to pass this test, I don't want to be...
You know, to trick Esa a few times.
Yeah, so Lamaisa, a lot of, when a person could be in Galus, a person could say, Ma'ayin Yavi Azri. Right? Azri Mima Hashem. And a person could say, Ma'ayin Yavi Azri, where the Choshech of the Galus could bring out within a person to ask, Ma'ayin Yavi Azri. Where's my help going to come from? He doesn't see. He doesn't see hope. Where's my parnasa going to come from? The shidduch, whatever Ingan he's struggling with, me'ayin yavi, he doesn't see me'ayin yavi. But a person will think deeper. He can think in this very question itself. Think into the darkness that you find yourself in itself, and that's the answer. Me'ayin yavi, from where your help's going to come? Me'ayin, from the level that's higher than all the madregas. Me'ayin. Ayin is a higher madrega. From the ayin's going to come Yavi Ezri. That's where my help's going to come. When you're going to realize what the depth of the Nisayin that you're in, that where this Nisayin comes from, where it stems from, where your question even stems from. It really is coming because I was placed, Hashem put me in this Nisayin. And He put me in this situation. So when you realize that why the Choshech is here, why the Nisayin is here, why you had this question, B'chlal, it was for a purpose. And there's a reason. That itself gives you the koyach to go through the galus. The taka should be zeicha to the geula shleim v'heida v'yameinu.
You're asking you to tell him.
She'ein lo is demot to the
Then you have the tshuva.
That's the Eibush himself.